Hey, this is Dave Fryer. Welcome to the. Damn it!
If you learn to work the old way, but the new way's what you need. My job's to make that switch from old to new. Suck less for you than it did for me. Here on Drunken PM Radio. Whoa! Here on Drunken PM Radio. Whoa!
Hey, this is Dave Fryer. Welcome to the Reluctant Agilist. Today I'm here with Mark Kilby and Tim Nolan, and we're going to be giving a talk together at the Agile conference in a few weeks. So we wanted to give a little teaser of that and also offer some tips for those of you who are coming to the conference for the very first time, because if you've never been, it will eat your soul if you let it. So I guess we should start out just by doing some introductions. So Mark, do you want to go first?
Sure. Mark Kilby, based out of Orlando, Florida. Way too long in the Agile community and way too long at this conference. My first one was the XP Universe Conference, which was one of the ones that merged into the Agile conference years and years ago. So I've been
What
at
year
this
was
for a
that?
while.
He's going to be like, oh, at 4.
2001, 2002.
Damn.
It wasn't too long after Snowbird. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a long time.
Yeah. So that was like Kent Beck and Ward Cunningham hanging out there. That was pretty cool.
All right. And what do you do, Mark?
What do? I cause chaos, but I get paid for it.
I'm an exotic dancer.
Yeah. No, definitely not. That would scare kids. I used to be an Agile coach. I'm recovering from that. These days, I'm an Agile program manager. I work at a federal consulting organization, working with a couple different federal agencies. Strangely enough, all 2- and 3-letter acronyms apply, and helping them become a little bit more agile every day.
Cool. All right. And Tim, what about you? You're in the sweltering land of Texas.
Oh yeah, it's hot too. It's going to be hot till probably late October. Yeah, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm a local govie. I work for a county just north of Dallas. I am a proud middle manager. So where I fit in Agile, I don't know, but
you take the paper to the people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, we have I guess started our Agile journey back in 2011 when my boss said you should look into Agile or Scrum, and I had to look what that was. I had to look that up, and then that's where we got started. So I got into some meetups, some local meetups in the Agile community here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and have loved it ever since.
All right, cool. And I'm Dave Pryor.
And I think, Tim, you're also kind of a rock star in the GIS world there. So.
Oh, that's when you do something like that for 30 years, I guess, when you say rock star, it's more like Keith Richards and not like not a young gun. It's someone who's just not dead, I think is
so
probably
you're going to show up at the conference with your shirt open and like a wine bottle, feathers dangling from your hair.
Lots of scarves. Yeah.
That's not till Wednesday or Thursday to come. So.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm Dave Pryor. I work for Leading Agile. I'm a certified Scrum trainer, and I'm doing coaching again, too. And right now I'm in Atlanta, where it is also hot, but not as hot as Texas, or probably as hot as Florida. And we're going to talk first about our session, and then we're going to give some tips for those of you that are going for the first time. And I'm going to look up when our session is. So it's called Tuning Your Distributed Team with the Right Environment Exercise. And it is on Tuesday, July 25th at 2 p.m. in Lafayette 4. And it's one of the big sessions. It's a 3-hour session. We have a lot to do in that 3 hours. So what are we going to do?
So we're going to do a week's worth of work in 3 hours. That's basically what we're going to do. Yeah. So I'll kick it off and you guys jump in. So based on, look what I have here, right next to me. Based on this book by Jim Benson, the three of us have been collaborating with Jim here a little over a year now, I guess, and have taken his LAVM course, now are faculty with the Modus Institute, and I'll speak for myself. I appreciate the straightforwardness of Jim and Tony Ann's approach. And the idea is, how do you let a team set the right environment? So we'll be showing some tools which you think you might know, but there's some different twists on some of these tools. So Tim, what's some of the tools that we'll cover? I'll let you jump in on this.
Well, yeah, we're going to start off with a value stream map, but a value stream map for humans, right? We're going to really get into how your process works, how you can treat others with respect and professionalism, and we're going to start that as I guess the core of our workshop, and then the other exercises will wrap around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, so I had not done value stream mapping before we went through Labum, and that and the other exercises we're going to do transformed the way that I think about forming teams. Like I wish I had known about this stuff before, especially because my understanding of what some of the things we're going to be doing, they have the same name as things I was taught, like when I was learning to be a project manager, but the way that we use them is so completely different. And I'm really excited to get to show people just how transformative that stuff is.
Charter?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do value stream mapping, project charter, communications plan, but totally different than what you've done before.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then also introduce some new tools that build off of that. And yes, the focus will be partially on distributed teams, but it's really hard to simulate distributed when you're all in the same room. So we're going to set up sort of a different scenario you can relate to if you're at the conference.
Yeah, and these are tools we've used in distributed modes. So we've got some experience to share, and since we're all distributed now all the time anyway, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and these tools, well, we know they work for remote teams, they work for co-located teams, and by golly, they might even work for hybrid remote teams. There's a rumor it works for that case too. So.
That'll have to be a podcast coming soon. Yeah. So what are people going to leave the session with? Like if they come and they give us 3 hours of their time, other than the cash, that we're going to give them at the door, what else will they get when they leave?
Well, everything we're going to be showing, the entire workshop is going to be tools you can use. So you don't have to buy software. You don't have, you just need people to work with each other, right? Collaborate with one another. So we're going to show you how to, like Dave and Mark said, the team charter is not going to be what you think it is. It's going to be a little bit different, but you'll be able to do it. I mean, it'll be easy. A lot of it's affinity mapping. The value matrix, I think, is going to be maybe an introduction to some of it, but it will be a fantastic tool to take with you. So that's what I think is the best thing about this, is that you don't need to. It's not going to cost you anything to go back and do these tools that we're going to show you.
And it works with these things called sticky notes.
That's right.
It works in Miro. It works in Mural. It works in a lot of different places.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for people to get to see this stuff, because like one of the things that I was able to already show this to another group who was having trouble with a team that was kind of like victimized by their company, and they felt like they had no power and no control. And I love the way that this creates a situation where the team gets to own the way they work. Even if you have constraints that are placed by the organization, you still get to decide how you're going to engage with one another and support one another in the work that you're trying to do. Cool. All right. So this is going to be on Tuesday, July 25th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Lafayette 4. And the session is called Tuning Your Distributed Team with the Right Environment Exercise.
Yeah. And we do promise breaks, because otherwise that would be cruel not to have breaks.
So we're going to be as humane as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to drag all the Philly out of myself before I get there. All right. So we also wanted to offer tips for people who are going to this conference. So what do you guys, how would you explain what they can expect to experience when they're there?
So I think one of the most important things to realize is this is where the whole Agile community comes together. So you've got Scrum folks, Kanban folks, Safe, Less, all the different, alphabet soups of acronyms coming together. But you've also got people from different experience levels. So you've got people that are completely new to Agile. You've got people that are kind of growing in their craft, and then you've got some older folks that have been
Mustache
there a
people.
long time. Yeah, yeah. We have the gray hairs to prove we've been around enough. So you have an opportunity to bump into uh, people that have probably been in your situation. So it's a great opportunity to meet new folks and not just attend sessions.
Okay. And Tim, you've been going to a lot of different conferences recently. So how would you explain the difference between this conference and other ones?
Well, let me just go back when I first came to this conference. When I was learning about Agile and kind of just researching and seeing who's written books and things, and then suddenly these folks are at this conference. That's what kind of, I was a bit of a fanboy about all the people that I was researching are there giving presentations and talks and walking about, like you two. I cannot believe I'm going to meet you two in person. So I think that's what's kind of different about it for me. The other conferences that I've attended recently are kind of user conferences that kind of talk about a software that you buy, but this is more of a kind of a collection of how how people work together, how to better ways to improve the work that you do. And I've really enjoyed this, and just meeting these folks. And I meet somebody new every time I go.
I like that they have stuff. I mean, if you're one of those people that likes to get up early, there's stuff from like 7 o'clock in the morning until probably like 2 or 3 in the morning if you want to stay out and get in trouble.
Yeah, but don't try to be up the whole time. You'll kill yourself.
Yeah, you got to take naps. But there's all the stuff that's planned, and then people also add things along the way, like impromptu sessions and things like that. So there's, no matter what you like to do, there's going to be tons of stuff available to you. But Mark's right. You do have to really be careful about pacing yourself, because it usually takes me, I think, like a month to recover from this conference when I get home. But I'm excited to see all the people. This is the first time I'm not going to be doing podcasts the whole time. First time since 2010 that I've gone and I haven't been doing podcasts. So I'm excited to get to actually do stuff and not be, hopefully, as burned out as usual. What are some tips you guys can offer people that are going to like be prepared when they get there and get the most out of the conference?
So I'm curious. So since Tim, this is like your third or fourth time going to the conference?
Yeah, I think I've been about 4 or 5.
Yeah. So I'm curious, since you're newer to the conference, what would you recommend to somebody just kind of going for the first time?
Well, I think if you don't have a mission, right? If you're not sent there, or you don't want to go to this conference to find out like one particular thing, then just try to get the experience, and I think it starts with the keynote in the morning, just kind of, just breathe it in, don't don't feel like you have to have everything prescribed. One of the best things that happened to me my first conference is I was a little late to get to a session that was full. So I just walked to and met somebody in the hall, and they were doing some little ad hoc, Lego exercise thing. And that was one of the best experiences I had in the whole conference. And I would have never known that was going on. It's just because I couldn't make it into the session that I wanted to make. So I guess that may be the best advice is if there is a session you want to attend, get there early, because these things have a tendency to fill up fast, and they're pretty good about not letting folks in. If once it, maybe that's a fire marshal thing, I don't know, but once it's full, it's full, and you're not getting in. So that's, I would say, do that half the time. Like, find 4 or 5 sessions throughout the week that you want to do, and then free up some of the time just to kind of go with the flow and figure out what might happen. You never know what might happen, or who you bump into, or what conversation gets started. So you need to leave space for that too.
Yeah, that's a great one. Sometimes you'll see stuff on the schedules like, I have no idea what that is. Yeah. It's like, maybe you should go to it and find out. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a ton of sessions.
Yeah. So I one way I think I would riff off of Tim's comment is you'll quickly discover there's a bunch of things going on and there's no way you can go to it all. And like I was saying earlier, it's good to meet people. And as an introvert, I kind of have to pace myself how to do that. So my one standard question when I meet somebody new is, what have you seen so far that you liked? or that surprised you.
Huh.
And that's usually where they'll talk about something else cool that they discovered. And it's like,
that's a good
oh
idea.
man, I need to find out about that. So that kind of gives you a little bit more, more ideas to kind of track down later.
So that's your way of working through the introvert thing and getting started with the conversation?
Yeah, because I don't do
cool.
what sports you in. I don't do those kind of questions very well.
I just push Chris Lee at people and let him do all the talking, and then I just kind of hang back.
Chris can only be in one place at one time,
right.
so I had to come up with my own technique. Yeah.
So I have another tip for introverts, and that is that there's so many sessions and there's so much stuff going on that if you get overwhelmed and you feel like you need to go back to your room, don't feel bad about that. Go back to your room, take a nap, take a shower, go to the pool. There's just so many things happening. You're not going to see all of it. And the best thing you can do is pace yourself because it's a long week. Hydrate, pace yourself. Use the buddy system if you go out at night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and just to clarify, not that part of Orlando is dangerous, but just to make sure that you don't have too much fun and can't make it back to your room.
Yeah. So, or when you do have too much fun, that you've got someone to carry you.
You got somebody that gets you back. There's another one there. I was on the introvert side. Well, I mean, sometimes for me, when I've kind of taken those breaks, maybe I found a quiet spot. Somebody else will come sit next to me, or I'll sit next to somebody else, and it's like I'll just kind of chill for a while, and then I'll start up a conversation there just to see, hey, anything else that or maybe they went by the bookstore and they picked up a book and said, hey, I haven't read that one. What made you pick that book up? I'm just curious. So.
And you guys both do the thing where you go out to dinner with people you don't know, right? To meet them and get to know them.
Yeah. I've done that in the past. I haven't done it every year, but yeah.
Okay. It is good to have I think a strategy for what you're trying to achieve or what you want to get out of it, or even just one thing a day to kind of help you focus. Yeah. It's easy to get lost in the swamp of all the things happening.
Yeah. Oh, now I remember the other thing. So I think this year it's optional that you can get the Agile Alliance membership. But if you do, it used to be included with the conference, but now it's optional. If you do get that and you walk into a room that has a camera, that's a good excuse to walk out because it'll be on the Agile Alliance website later. So go find one that doesn't have a camera because that's probably one you're not going to be able to get info on. So that's something I've done in the past too.
I want to also offer the accountability partner thing. And so this is something we used to do, and Mark helped out with this one year. It really helps me to have a group of people that I'm going to meet with every morning, even if they're strangers, to have like a daily stand-up. And what's important for me there is that it's a small group of people that I tell I'm going to do this thing today. Because for me, if I tell like 1,000 people, I won't do it. But if I tell 5 people, then I'm going to feel like I have to do it. And it helps motivate me. It's also a great place to learn about other stuff that's happening. And if you need support, like if you're exhausted or whatever, I mean, these people can kind of pick you back up too, or you're trying to figure out where to go at night or whatever.
Yeah. Good advice. Maybe to keep it simple.
I was curious if you had another one.
If you're going to, like right now, as you're preparing, looking over the sessions, I would say find one session you have to go to. Make sure you get there. Decide one person you want to meet. If it's someone famous, an author, someone like that, seek out. Everyone is very approachable at this conference.
Yeah, they're all going to be showing up. Where's the GIS guy?
And at lunch, there's lunch served. I think everybody usually eats together. Try to sit with somebody different, like at a different table. Don't have lunch with the same person all week long. And I think you'll really have those things. You'll have a good experience.
Unless you're hyper introverted and need to go sit by yourself at lunch, which is totally okay too.
That's true. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Of course.
I've done that sometimes too. It's where I go grab my food in the big, massive, noisy hall and then take it outside because there's usually some tables outside.
Yeah. I think it helps to have like a routine for yourself as well. So like in the morning, and in the afternoon, and the evening, like stuff you're going to do that's more kind of self-maintenance and self-care to kind of keep yourself going. Like I usually will bail in like the middle of the afternoon because I like to go out at night. So I'll take a break and then go back out, or get dinner and take a break and go back out. Because I do like to stay out late and do stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
And another thing I like is even if I can't get there at the start, in the mornings I'll try to go to the lean coffees.
Yep.
So if I'm not there at the beginning, and if for those who don't know what lean coffee is, it's a great way to bring a bunch of people together and just talk about random topics, but the topics that are of most interest to the people who are there.
Yeah.
So they kind of write out on sticky notes. Everyone kind of votes on what they like the most, and then they go through at a certain time or try to get through every topic. But it's a really great way to see what are people interested in, what topics are kind of on their mind, and sometimes you hear a little bit also about what's coming up for the day, and people will talk about, hey, I'm thinking about this session, but I'm wondering about this alternate view, and so they'll talk about that in the mornings. So.
And I think they have it every morning. It's on the schedule now.
Every
morning. I noticed that on the schedule, so it's nice that they have
it used to be unofficial, now it's official. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What else should we add?
I would say maybe going out, it may be your thing or it may not be, but I would say try to go to one of the evening events, if anything. For me, I'm not a big fan of the big end of the week, the Thursday evening party. I'm usually kind of had enough of the week by that point. But there's other receptions and things that happen, and that's another place to kind of connect with people and just see what they're interested in, and just try to catch one, even if it's not your normal thing. Again, just try something a little different.
It's also okay if people aren't nighttime people and they don't like to do that and go out and go to the big parties. Like that's okay too. Right? Yeah. They're not gonna. I think people get like FOMO about it, and they feel like they have to. At least I felt in the beginning like I had to go to everything, and that's just brutal.
I did that one year, and I had to drag myself through the Thursday events. So don't do that. So.
And one thing I've noticed at this conference in particular, that the vendor or the expo area where all the the tables are or the vendors are, that's pretty engaging. I mean, it's not as salesy as some of the other ones are. It always seems to be more conversational. Everybody seems to kind of know each other. And so to me, that's kind of like a little, a gathering that if you don't want to go out, that might be your sort of social activity, is to kind of meet and greet folks as you go through that expo.
Yeah. And just try to get to like one good conversation every day, or at least one. Mm-hmm. I think that can be pretty powerful. Cool.
Yeah.
Any final words of advice?
Enjoy it. Just come and have a good experience. And maybe come with one problem. If you've got one problem you're trying to solve, then there's tons and tons of folks out there to help.
I remember what I wanted to promote. So they're going to have Agile advice again this year. So there's going to be a whole section set up with free coaching. So find Agile advice. If you've got any stuff you want to talk about, come by there, and you can sign up for a session and get a coach to sit down and kind of riff through whatever problem you're facing. And you don't even have to pay for it. It's all included. So it's all free.
Yep. And Dave might be there. I might be there.
I'll be there most of the time.
Yeah. So,
hydrate. I think that's really important. Drink as much water as you can.
Yeah. Yes, because we are in the Gaylord Biodome, and you do dry out.
And so people, if you're going and you've never been to a Gaylord, you're going to enter this building on the first day, and you will not leave the building for 5 days. So that's something you have to be prepared for. Some people get really freaked out about it. Mm-hmm. It's a massive space too. So you're going to get tons of walking in, but you should be prepared to be like in one facility for an entire week.
Yeah. So I think right before we started recording this, an email went out to all the participants saying, wear comfortable clothes, comfortable
Yeah.
shoes. They are not kidding.
And bring something like a sweater or a jacket because it gets really cold in some of the spots.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And I think one other thing is more of a request than advice is if you see us, say hi. Tell us you saw the podcast, and that way, we know, you, and let us know what you found valuable out of it. We'd love to know.
And come to our session.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to pressure them. We said it's not salesy, so. But it is going to be the most awesome session, in the conference.
Yeah, and it's going to be really great to see everybody again. I mean, it's cool to get together with all these people. Also, if you see the people that you think are like rock stars or the people whose books you read, sometimes I notice people are like afraid to go talk to those people. They're just regular people, and they're hanging out trying to learn like you. So don't be shy about that.
Yeah.
Go up and talk to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for doing this. And if you're watching, we hope to see you in Florida in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Love it. Can't wait.
All right. Thanks. See you.
If you learn to work the old way, but the new way's what you need, my job's to make that